His name is Aaron Yeager. Well. This is the last episode of part 1 for season 4 of Attack on Titan, episode 16. Also, there's finally been confirmation on part 2 for this season, which will be released in winter 2022. So, for you anime-only watchers, y'all had to wait a little over a year to watch the remaining of Attack on Titan. That being said, I'll do my review on episode 16, give my thoughts, and what happened in this amazing episode. So, the episode starts off with Hanji, Bluch, and all Jaegers outside in the rain under horses. Y'all heard a loud noise, which was Levi's thunder spear from late in episode 15. Hanji recognized the noise came from a thunder spear and wonders what's going on. We then see what happened after the explosion as we see Zeke's lifeless half-corpse body on the ground. From Zeke's point of view, there's complete silence even though it's pouring hard. He questions if he's gonna die, and then transitions to pitch black and we see a small girl dressed in gray appears and disappears. As it turns back to Zeke's body, we see a Titan crawling towards Zeke, and once this Titan gets close to Zeke, it grabs his own belly and tears it open. And what this Titan proceeds to do was horrifying. This Titan grabs what was left of Zeke and shoves Zeke's whole body inside of the Titan's body. This makes you wonder what things that we don't know about Titans. After that weird scene, we are back in the Shinkashina district with the Jaegers running up the captured scouts and military police. Then we hear Yelena's voice reminding Commander Pixies that they have met once again and are sitting at the same table again. We see volunteers eating alongside them, and Yoel Capone is right there next to Yelena. Yelena thanks Pixies for not having the military police to fight back and gathering soldiers in Shinigashina. Pixie responded he didn't have a choice since he and the soldiers drank the spinal fluid, and it would be better for them to be in Shinigashina where the civilians have been evacuated. Pixies makes small talk with one of his people that the man who betrayed him because him and his son drank the wine. After that, Pixie sees the different color armbands. He evaluates that the white bands are people who are proud Jaegers. Red bands are the people who are forced to submit after learning they drank wine. The last armband, which is black, indicates people who didn't know about the wine conspiracy. Pixie asks Yelena if this is what Marley does, and did they do that to her homeland through the same method? Yelena replies there's so much to learn from the enemy as Pixies add on, including making more enemies. Yelena then reminds Pixies that they're the ones who didn't let herself and her people to join up with him. Pixies makes a smart, funny statement that they didn't trust any visitors who tainted the wine. Yelena tells Pixies that him and his people were wise but fooled since all they had to do was put their faith in them and Zeke so the world could have been saved. Pixies was taken away at the saving the world part, telling Yelena that their plan is to have Eren and Zeke in contact to start a small rumbling to show the other nations around the world they can attack Paradise Island in the next 50 years. That being said, it sounds more like just saving the island and not the world entirely. Yelena took that in and said to Pixies that it's too late because Zeke gave him time to think about it. As they try to stab Zeke in the back, Yelena goes on that he's a god who saved the world, and Pixies called down his wrath. After that conversation, it transitions to Eren's friends in the underground cell being captive. Connie is seen and said, are they just gonna stick around and watch everything unfold? He asks Armin if he's gonna get them out with his Titan power. Armin replies he can since he could blow away this town and his Titan powers isn't as agile as Eren's. Jean gets in conversation, asks Armin why he got beat up by Eren. Armin answers him that Eren hurt Mikasa with his way of words, which was enough for Armin to attack Eren that let him get beaten up by Eren. Jean asks in what way did Eren hurt Mikasa? Armin was gonna explain until Mikasa says stop it, it's fine. Jean tells her no it's not and asks Mikasa how Eren hurt her. Connie steps in to tell John that's enough. As Connie puts it, it just shows that Eren turned to someone who he isn't, showing to the point that he hurt two people he cares about the most. Jean believes if Eren's still Eren, he would have done what he did for some reason with a possible hidden motive. As they were all talking amongst each other, Yelena appears with Onya Capone and the guy who worked in the restaurant with Niccolo. Yelena says long time no see, heroes of Shinigashina, as well as saying she couldn't believe that their reunion led up to them having to be behind bars. Connie sees Onya Capone, which makes him lash at the bars, demanding him to let them out of here. Onya Capone mentions to them that they were the ones who arrested him, which led him to be dragged around the island, and why he should help them after going through all that mess. He insists for them to just sit tight until Eren and Zeke make contact. Jean walked towards the bars and congratulates Yelena as everything must have gone well for her. From Yelena to Eren, who had been moving according to Zeke's plan, as Jean enlists them, she got them to attack Marley of Eldians and Paradise Island support her, and took control of the military with the spinal fluid on the wine. With all that said, Yelena pretty much has Eldian nation and the founder's power in her hands, so she can finally destroy Marley to get revenge for her homeland, which makes Sean believe that was her true motive coming to Paradise Island. Onya Capone defends Yelena, saying that this island was primitive and they brought it out of its past. Connie gets frustrated by his statement, and Niccolo opens up that they did that so they can enjoy it once they ruled this island. The third person who's with Yelena, who worked with Niccolo, tells Niccolo that he was tricked and lost. Niccolo directs his focus to his former co-worker, Grease, calling him out that he's a snitch in order to become Yelena's lackey. Grease tells Niccolo that he's the dumb one as he's the one who befriended the devils and betrayed his own kind. Going on to say Niccolo had feelings for the devil who reeked of potatoes, referring to Sasha. This made Niccolo's blood boil, and he proceeds to lash at him while shouting, "I'm gonna kill you." Grease continues that Niccolo wouldn't shut up about her day and night, and he foolishly believed that Niccolo would have get a grip once Sasha had died. Hearing all this, Niccolo is still aggravated with the attempt to beat him up as Grease talks what's going through his mind, saying that spawn devil woman was until a game aimed and shot towards Grease's head. The crazy person who pulled the trigger was no other than Yelena herself. After she did that, Yelena apologizes for Grease's disrespect, saying that this island has no room for discrimination. She affirms everyone that the true goal has nothing to do with getting revenge on Marley. She claims that their goal is to end this cycle of hatred by saving Elia and Marley. So Yelena comes forward that it won't keep any secrets from them, as she will explain to them Zeke's euthanization plan that will save the world. After that underground prison scene, it cuts to Gabby sitting all alone by herself. She talks to herself saying they're all devils and why am I? Then the door opens up and Aaron and a Jaegerist enter inside as Aaron addresses Gabby. Gabby pulls herself together and asks Aaron what he wants. Aaron tells her if she wants to save Falco, Gabby needs to help him. Gabby, literally shaking in fear, asks, "Help you how?" Aaron tells her to help him by calling for help on the radio to get rid of intruders within the walls. Then to Aaron and Gabby's surprise, Pete comes in quietly from the door and kills the armed Jaegerist with a dagger and points her gun at Aaron. Peck tells Aaron not to move and asks Gabby to be quiet. Gabby starts to cry and says Peck's name, but Peck tells her to be quiet. Peck closes the door and says he must be Aaron, correct? After doing that, Peck tells Gabby to aim the rifle at Aaron. Gabby complies after Peck has to say her name again. Peck in control tells Aaron to take his hands out of his pockets. Aaron, not breaking a sweat, asks what if not, to which Peck tells him she will pull the trigger and his brains will be on the floor. She tells him if he even seen close death, as there will be no time for him to transform when it happens. Aaron tells Peck why you don't pull the trigger. If not, then why are you even here? As Aaron presses look saying what if I don't listen? Peck counters that's something he'll never know if his brains are blown. Aaron cuts her off that he does know that Peck won't shoot. Aaron starts walking towards Peck as this madman puts his forehead on a barrel while saying she's not allowed to kill the Founding Titan, as her orders is to retake it. Aaron knows to accomplish that, Peck needs to turn to a Titan and eat him alive. With Aaron being too close to Peck, Gabby aims her rifle towards Aaron. Peck tells Gabby to take her finger off the trigger. Aaron being the one telling the reality to Peck that she wouldn't be the one to pay if she does something to defy the military, as her family would be punished because of her actions. Peck then lifts her hands up saying that he's right, she can't shoot him, and eating him wouldn't be possible. Changing the subject, Peck asks Aaron if he found her tiny footprints when she evaded. She thought she must have gotten away with it, but she does have her reasons for not shooting. Peck asks if Aaron uses the Founder's power, couldn't it defeat Marley? And she tells Aaron, you wouldn't make the world your enemy if you can win. Speculating, Aaron might have something else up his sleeve other than the Founder. Gabby couldn't believe what Peck is suggesting, as Peck tells Gabby to put her rifle down. Aaron asks Peck her goal in this. Peck reveals she wants to free all aliens in Marley and across the world, also freeing her family in the interment zone. Peck opens up that she became a warrior to get her dad proper Medicare. Her dad survived, but he's depressed as his daughter's turn would be over soon. But before Peck dies, she wants to show her dad that Elliot had a bright future ahead. To have that happen, Marley needs to be destroyed, and Peck will offer to help in with that cause. Hearing what she had to say, Gabby backtracks that the person behind the attack on Marley was Zeke, and now seeing that Peck has switched sides, Gabby asks what have they been fighting for? As Gabby thinks if the world knows they're good aliens, won't they let us free? So Gabby decides to point her gun at Peck, saying she's a no good traitor like Zeke. Gabby walks towards Gabby, asking her a question. Are we Marlians or aliens? Gabby honors that they're ordinary Marlians. Peck grabs and takes away the rifle, telling her she's wrong, and instead they're subjects of Ymir, the truth that they can't escape from. So it doesn't matter what they're called, because at the end of the day, they are a race that can turn into titans. As Peck tells Gabby, the Battle of Fort Salva is an example of Titan power being on its way out. So when it comes to that conclusion, Marley could kill all aliens, countering Gabby's statement of good aliens that there's no guarantee that they will be freed, so they must obtain their rights and earn them back. While Peck is talking to Gabby, Aaron from behind lifts his right hand and tells Peck to prove herself if she really wants to work with them. We see that Aaron has cut his finger, which shows that if they try to pull something on him, he will transform if necessary. Peck claims she will tell Aaron where her comments are. Aaron asks how. Peck suggests if they go on the roof, she'll be able to point them out where they're hiding. Aaron complies with what she said and closes the cut. After that, we are back in the underground prison as Yelena explained the euthanization plan to all the captives. Armin asks so this plan will stop the kids from being born to Yelena. Yelena answers that he's correct on that. As this will put an end to the suffering of Titans peacefully. John questions how is that peaceful, as once the aliens die, there will only be old people to defend until the end, because the plan doesn't guarantee to protect themselves if the world doesn't leave them alone. Yelena replies to John's concerns that the rumbling will help as long as the Flying Titan are with the royal bloodline. With the fact that Queen Story is not blessed with an heir, the subjects like Ymir can inherit the Flying Titan as long as the Story's child could use it until it passes away. John sees that Yelena is pretty confident things will end up smoothly. Yelena tries to convince John that nations can always claim certainties. However, there's one certainty that Yelena knows, and it's the threat of Titans being wiped out by Eren and Zeke. Yelena doesn't know how long humanity may last for, but it's hard for her to think if there's going to be a greater feat that will come to pass this. With a smile and hope on her face, she believes the future will honor the Jaeger brothers as legends for thousands of years to come. She even compares their possible feat to even the gods, and once they pass away, they'll be seen as saviors of humanity. Hearing her thoughtful speech on this matter, Armin starts to break down and cry. Yelena looks at Armin and asks what's wrong. While crying, Armin fumbles with his words, saying no, but hearing that their cause was so noble, Armin looks up at Yelena and claims it touched his heart. And Yelena, who's also cheering up, replies that it's wonderful that Armin understands this purpose. Now, from what I've seen from this scene, I don't think Armin's being true to his words and emotions. Armin is known to be quite manipulated when it comes to these scenarios. This is the same guy who tried to manipulate Berhalter that Annie's being mistreated while confined by the people within the walls. So I could probably say that Armin is probably BSing here. But if not, he did put a good act that he's into their motives of going this far in the evacuation plan. Then Jaegers comes downstairs to the cellar and warns Yelena that there are invaders. The commotion is hectic as soldiers are gearing up and hearing that it's a car titan. We then get to see the military police and Falco, who's there with them in a separate room. Then it goes to Eren along with Gabby and Peg being escorted with a group of Jaegerists. Peg asks Eren if it's safe to assume that they're now working together. Eren responds if she can pinpoint where the other invaders are. Until then, Peg would be cuffed to Gabby. This was done if Peg transforms, Gabby would die as a result of that. Gabby being frightened of what Eren just said, Peg comforts her not to worry as Peg tells Eren this kid will comply. We see now they're walking up the stairs to other Jaegers in the main lobby watching them. Peg stops midway to say a cheerful hi there with her hands up. From what it seems to be her being just friendly to the soldiers, as most of them are crushed by her appearance. But if you see carefully, I picked this up while watching the scene the second time. Porco's there in the crowd of soldiers, and that hi there from Peg was actually a message directed towards Porco. As they continue making their way upstairs, Gabby asks Eren where Falco is. Eren tells her that he's here, but it turns out he drank some of Zeke's spinal fluid. Both Gabby and Peg couldn't believe what they just heard, so Peg asks how it happened. Eren doesn't know the answer to that question, but he heard that a wine got into his mouth. Gabby realizes what may have happened to Falco. Peg wonders what she's thinking about. Gabby says it's her fault again. Then Peg put two and two together and figured out that Eren took over the military with Zeke's spinal fluid. Peg asks Eren if she knows why Zeke has that ability. Eren doesn't know and asks if she knows. Peg claims she doesn't know, or others for that matter know about it. Peg opens up when she met Zeke. She felt Zeke told one lie after another lie, now they're telling the truth or being honest. Until 4 years ago when Zeke talked to Eren. Peg claims that only with Eren, Zeke opened up and felt true to his words, which confirmed Peg's suspicion. As Peg remembers it, believe me, I know what you've been going through, Eren. Someday I'll come back to rescue you. Peg believed that Zeke would have told Eren about his secret, like the possibility it could draw out the Founding Titan's power. As Peg said that, the doors opened, the roof opened slowly, and we see Yelena and Oya Capone standing in front waiting for them. Peg recognized Yelena and cracks a joke. You shave your beard and thought it looked good on her. As both Gabby and Peg head further towards the scene on the roof, Eren and Yelena are near the door as Yelena advises Eren that's not safe to trust Peg. Eren greets Yelena saying it's all mutual. As so, Eren approaches both of them on the rooftop. Before Peg points at Vader, she looks back and asks Eren if he's using the Founding Titan's power, as well as asking where Zeke is. Gabby is so scared, probably peed herself. Eren asks where the enemy is. With him taking a stance that he's ready for any surprises as electricity flows through his hand. Yelena tells the soldiers to keep their aim, and this whole scene is so intense and cool, with this extra winning detail of the hairs being blown as it gives off a Wild West cowboy standoff. Gabby starts to cry, but Peg squeezes her hand. Gabby looks up at her. Peg gives off a smile that everything's gonna be okay, so Peg takes her finger as she turns around and stays there, and the person who she pointed to is no other than Eren Jaeger. It zooms in to Eren looking all mad, and believe me, I will be mad too, since Pieck pretty much wasted his time. That said, we see in Peg stare that she's not bluffing and being serious about what she had pulled off. Then Peg immediately grabs Gabby and they both take cover as the ground below starts to collapse on Eren. We see Porco has transformed into a Jaw Titan and attempts to eat Eren whole. However, Eren was fortunate that only his legs were bitten off by the Jaw Titan. As his whole scheme turns Eren way more angry, electricity starts flowing through his body as he begins to transform, setting off a huge explosion. While Eren's regenerating and wars in his Titan form, as all this escalates, we see Eren's friends down below in the cellar, wondering what's going on. Armin realizes what's going on and says it's begun. The Titans have started to move. Back on the rooftop, Gallard is covering both Peck and Gabby from the powerful wind blast. Peck says she knew it wouldn't be that easy. Gabby is taken by surprise that Peck isn't a traitor after all. Peck tells her you thought I would sell out my comrades. Gabby then restates what Peck said to her, that aliens have no future flying for Marley. Peck tells Gabby to look up, and once the debris is going away, Gabby sees 5 Marlian airships heading towards them. Peck tells Gabby she doesn't believe in Marley, but she trusts her comrades that she fought alongside. As the airships are coming closer to Shinigashina district, Commander Magav tells the rest that a smoke signal has been set off which exposes the location of the Fighting Titan by Peck and Galliard. Eren in his Titan form looks up at the approaching airships, and we see Reiner looking down from above. Commander Magav tells his soldiers to get revenge for Librio, and right next to him is Falco's older brother Colt. Eren from inside his Titan body says to the approaching invaders to bring it on. Reiner, with a smooth third-person view of Eren looking up at the upcoming threat as the episode ends there. And yes, the episode ends off in a cliffhanger. And as I mentioned before, the continuation of part 2 will come out at winter 2022 next year. That said, I really like this episode. This episode is great. The scenery and the animation, especially that standoff, took my breath away. As well as Eren transforming to his Titan, ready to throw some hands. Overall, I didn't have any complaints of this episode, though it did end up in a cliffhanger and we had to wait for next year to see what goes on. But hey, not to worry, especially for you anime only watchers. To those who want to know what's going to happen, I suggest you read the manga. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what chapter to read after this ending. So the events that led up after this episode, read chapter 117 and go from there. On top of that, the last chapter of the series will come out next month in April. So I highly recommend you all to read the manga chapters where it last left off so that you guys won't be spoiled on the ending of Attack on Titan. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please give this video a like. And if you want, consider subscribing to my channel. And see y'all next time in the next video. Peace.